Hello and good evening. In this video, I want to discuss a new phenomenon that is widespread and indeed global. And I want to sort of question the group and motives behind this agenda. Of late, well, it started with 7/7 and 9/11. Ever since 9/11 had taken place, and popular opinions, especially architects, have argued that it was an inside job. Okay, however, inside job does not mean that there weren't genuine victims. There were genuine victims. However, this incident, 9/11 and 7/7, started to become hijacked by people who are into conspiracy theorists and people who are avid followers of InfoWars. Now, the latter, InfoWars, Alex Jones himself was in court over a divorce with his wife, where his lawyer, who should know him better than anybody else, said that his show is nothing more than an entertainment and should not be taken seriously. And Alex Jones does not even take his own show seriously. And yet, the same Alex Jones who mentioned the Pizzagate, okay, he had to apologize and said it was fake, it was false. Now, what's interesting, a lot of his followers have realized this and left him, but still there are, I think it's 2.5 million or 1.5 million people who still subscribe to his nonsense. And therefore, that kind of mindset are the kind of people, extreme left-wingers, who are going around claiming that half of these disasters and terrorism is not really taking place. And it's quite disturbing, and I'll tell you why it's disturbing. First of all, when people are saying this, that this terrorism is not taking place, there's two components to it. Number one, they are protecting Muslims. They know what they're doing. It's interesting, when that white terrorist killed all 9 black people, nobody called it a fake flag. Nobody called it a false flag. Okay, it's interesting. They seem to pick and choose when they decide what is false flag, and the majority of cases, it seems to be when it is an incident, terrorism, which has been caused by Muslims. Then suddenly it is a false flag. Now, what I realized, I think some time ago. Sorry, I'm getting the laptop. What I realized some time ago is that a lot of Muslims now are aware of the psychology of these left-wingers. They are aware of the thinking patterns of these anarchists and are exploiting it to their advantage. Hence, when we look at people's profiles and they are arguing this is a false flag, it's not really Muslim doing terrorism, we have to ask, when you see a white face, is it really a Muslim creating mischief in the West? Because in the Arabic term tariq, it means to deceive by any means necessary for the purpose of Islamification. We know that Islam or Muslims are capable of the most atrocious lie. Let me give you an example. Hinduism has nothing to do with Islam, nothing at all. It's 5,000 years old. Okay, Islam is only 1,600 years old. Yet they claim Hare Krishna, I think meaning beautiful. They then take the Sanskrit and says it means beautiful in Arabic for Muhammad. They then do the same thing with the body scripture. So every religion on earth, they have a wicked, no shame. There's no shame to these Muslims what they would do. Every religion they claim is promoting Muhammad, whether it's witchcraft, whether it's Satanism, whether it's occultism, whether it's paganism. This is the sickness. This is the sickness of the Islamic cult. Now, because people are obsessed with the false flag and Illuminati, there is a Muslim video 3 hours or 6 hours where they've doctored it and manipulated this craze regarding Illuminati and Freemason and made it into an Islamic consciousness. So these left-wingers, these sick individuals, right, oh, you know, the world's run by Illuminati, etc. And the Muslim says, oh, yes, it is. And look, we expose these Illuminatis. We expose them. Illuminati means Shaitan. Satan. And this is how they con these people into becoming Muslims. Any means necessary. Now, what's happening now is that a lot of people are questioning a lot of this terrorism. You know, oh, it didn't take place. Now, if you look at this and you think, wait there, who's really behind it? I know you have some extreme anarchists and extreme left-wingers who are trying to alter your perception. They try to do your brain in so you don't really know what's reality from fantasy. So when you see people blooded, they say it's tomato ketchup. This is what people are arguing. Or when you see people dying on the streets, it's tomato ketchup. So the world that we're living in, we are programmed not to trust our senses, our intelligence, and what we see. Now, sadly, because we are governed by a corrupt government, they don't make it any easier. But what these corrupt government do, right, they pander and give excuses and just cause for these sickos to question false flag. You know, a lot of these people who talk about false flag, etc., I'm not saying that the government does not create terrorism. I'm not saying that. But what I'm arguing, you know, or I'm not arguing that the government do not benefit from terrorism. Of course they do, which is why they support Saudi Arabia. However, when disasters are taken and have taken place, and we have these insensitive and cold, heartless individuals who care nothing about the family and the victims who have experienced this, and then turn around and argue that it is false flag. It is dangerous, because if we are going to play down for fun purposes, because that's what InfoWars is nothing more. If you don't believe me, look on InfoWars Exposed on Google, right? Alex Jones, InfoWars Exposed, and you will see that his lawyer actually admitted that Alex Jones is a con man, is a comedian, right? He doesn't even believe in his show. Look it up. This is Alex Jones. Yeah, he's got 2 million followers, and he comes out with all these strange nonsense stories. But this is what people want. They don't want reality. They want to believe that the Queen eats babies. They want to believe that, you know, Obama is a reptile and Donald Trump is from space. You wonder why we can promote the LGBT agenda? You wonder why we can promote Islamic extremism? When we got people like that who are believing in this garbage, then it's no wonder the world is run by a pack of lunatics. However, the dangers of this is that as long as we are allowing these sick individuals and groups to illogically, without foundation, question these disasters, this kind of attitude will play right into the government's hands, because what the government then will argue is that to question any incidents is terrorism or is hate. Anything that we do, the government always turn it around for their own advantage. And what is the government's favorite tool? The war on terror. Although they fund it, they fund Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is, I think, bombing Yemen and supporting terrorists. Saudi Arabia is giving weapons to ISIS. And the government know this, but the war on terror, they use that not against Muslims, but against you. So you can't even question all, the government's illegal activities. Why? Because they will argue, well, you raised this false flag. You said this was not happening. This is hate speech. There is obviously a kind of wicked engineering process behind this. And unless, like Alex Jones, who his lawyer admitted, his InfoWars, his lawyer admitted he's a fraud, he's a fake. This is not my words, this is his lawyers, and that he makes up these stories. But this is what people want, because they have an agenda, a very wicked and cruel agenda, and it is these cruel and wicked agenda that is going to affect and infringe upon our rights in which to share information in the future, because the government will use it against us. Now, Muslims have caught up on this. They realize that there is a cult, this which is sort of obsessed with Illuminati. They're obsessed with Freemason, and the Muslims are using that platform in which to hijack these rhetorics and turn it around and convert these people into Muslims. Just like these feminists are becoming Muslims. Whenever these people are the left-wingers or extremists, and they use it against Christianity, they always end up becoming Muslims. And that's what concerns me the most. Now, everyone knows that the shootings in Las Vegas was horrible. Even Manchester, and the London stabbings, etc., which people are arguing it's all fake. So when do you know what's real? If everything is fake, then they have to define to you what is real. And if you ask them, the only thing that's real to them is the Queen having a knife and fork and eating a baby. That's the only thing that's real to these kind of people. They watch too much sci-fi, they watch too much True Blood, and it's gone to their heads. If you look at half of this ideology, it came from 1980s sci-fi movies with all these shapeshifters. And it's got into their subconscious mind that they can't decipher reality from fantasy. They're nothing more than Star Trekkers. That's what they are, Trekkies. And they're taking it to extreme. Just like people who watch these soap operas like Dallas and Dynasty and EastEnders and God knows what. And they actually believe that this is real. These people are so strange that they take it into their personal life and can't separate Dynasty, EastEnders, you name it. They can't separate it from the political life. And I think this is what's happening with all these reptilian babies and the Queenie babies and all these false flags. They're watching too much Hollywood. They're watching too much movies. They need to read a book and start to become grounded again, because they're losing their marbles. It's insensitive that when people are losing their families, people who are going through pain and trauma, for we to go on social media and say that it's false flag, it's not really happening. This is what the Muslims are now exploiting to their advantage. They can do terrorism, but oh no, it's not really happening, it's all in your mind. This is an attack on Islam. This is what these white left-wingers are now doing. It's an attack on Islam. Islam is peace. They're not really doing anything. And it's the same left-wingers who will not go to Muslim countries and see the reality of how Sharia law is enforced, how Muslim women are treated. Don't listen to anybody in the West. You go to Muslim countries yourself, and you will see the lies that have been spun to you by the left-wing agenda. They won't go to Muslim countries, but they'll spin your lies. Anyway, that's my video for today.